Good morning. It's Friday, and I wanted to go ahead and bring you another Lesson 5 devotional. This morning, I want to jump right to the chase here, and talk about the blind man in John chapter 9. Um, Here a while back when we were at the movie on the lawn at Guthrie Green to watch Frozen with the kids, there was a little boy who walked by and he had an arm missing. And Ephraim looked at mom and said, uh, you know, what do you think happened to this little boy? Why doesn't he have an arm? And it reminded me of the disciples in John chapter 9 when the the blind man, when there's the interaction between Jesus and the blind man, and the disciples asked Jesus, they said, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, uh, that he was born blind? And Jesus' response is phenomenal. And we miss something here in this passage, I think. And let me explain. Jesus answered and said, it was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. And oftentimes we read this passage and we understand this to be the works of God, to be healing, the blind man being healed. We think that's the works of God, or in some versions, the power of God, the glory of God is the miracle of receiving sight. But I wanted to submit to you this morning that we missed something here. And the reason being is if we watch what the disciples say in verse 2, when they say, is it his sin or his parents' sin that's caused him to be blind? We might come down on the disciples for saying this right here, but there's a reason why they say this. And the reason is found in Numbers chapter 14, verses 17 through 19, when God tells, when we see where God is going to punish the sins of the generations for their rebellion during the time of the golden calf and all that. Uh, and we see in Numbers 14, 17 through 19, where Moses is pleading with God about mercy and forgiveness for the sins of the people, and to not punish generation after generation. And so we read this passage, and we don't connect that this is what the disciples are thinking. They're thinking, is it the sin of his father or his rebellion that's caused him to be blind? Is it a generational sin thing, or is it his own sin? What's caused this man to be blind? And Jesus does exactly what Moses does, because they're a type and shadow of each other. Moses and Jesus. Moses was like Jesus. Matter of fact, Jesus is the one who's going to be greater than Moses, that's prophesied in the Old Testament. But Jesus does the same thing. He's telling his disciples it's not his father's sin, his mother's sin. It's not his sin. What's happening, this blindness, is so that the power of God can be revealed. And that power of God that's being revealed is not the miracle. The glory of God that's being revealed is not the miracle. The glory of God, the power of God, the display, the works that are being displayed here is mercy and forgiveness. You see, if we flip on over to the next page here in my Bible, in verse 31 of John chapter 9, it says, Jesus heard that they had cast him out, talking about the Pharisees. The Pharisees had cast this guy out because of what was going on, and Jesus heard about it. You can read the dialogue yourself, but Jesus heard about the blind man being cast out, and Jesus went to that man and got him. And so we see mercy and forgiveness here. We see the power of God on display. Salvation is the power of God. It is the miracle of God. Salvation is the miracle. And so next time that we see someone who might be less than perfect to us, why don't we think about how God is, the glory of God is going to be displayed in that guy's life. The power of God is going to be displayed in that guy's life because of mercy and forgiveness, salvation. God bless you. Love you. I know I talked fast, but there was a lot in this I could have talked about. It's a great teaching. Love you. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Happy 4th of July.